these different capacitors. Now step 3, I will find out the equivalent capacitance. So how to find out the equivalent capacitance? See, here my capacitors are connected in series or in parallel. See, they are connected in series. So in the case of series connection, I can use the equation 1 upon C is equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. Please remember the thing in your mind that it is inverse of the resistance case. If the three resistors are connected in series, you can simply find out the equivalent resistance by doing the addition of R1 plus R2 plus R3. But here in the case of capacitor, you cannot find out the equivalent capacitance of a capacitor by addition of C1 plus C2 plus C3. Okay. So just put the value of C1, C2 and C3. See, in this example all the values are same. So the equivalent capacitance you will get is 29.50 into 10 raised to minus 9 Farad. Now fourth step is that you need to find out the voltage across each capacitor. So you know the voltage, how to find out the voltage, and you can put the value in the equation and you can find out the voltage across the capacitor. Now let us move to the another question where you are asked to solve one numerical from the magnetic circuit. In this numerical, a ring is to be given which is having the mean diameter is 21 centimeter and the cross section area is 10 centimeter square. The ring is made up of the semicircular section of the cast iron and the cast steel material, and it is joined having the reluctance equal to an air gap of 0.2 mm. So you can visualize the thing in your mind that a ring is having diameter is 21 centimeter. So you can put it in your hand also. It is not a bulky ring, it is having a small ring, and the small ring you are having the air gap of 0.2 mm only, and the material are cast iron and the cast steel material. You need to find out how much ampere turn. What is ampere turn? Ampere turn is the mmf required to produce the flux of 8 into 10 raised to minus 4 Weber. Right? So you need to find out the mmf for this example. The relative permeability of the cast steel is 800 and the cast iron is 166. And it is also mentioned that you have to neglect the fringing and the leakage effect in this numerical. So let us find out the reluctance of each case and then we can find out the mmf. What is mmf? mmf is nothing but it is the product sum of the flux into the reluctance. It is similar to the electric circuit. What is there in the electric circuit? Same way there is a EMF. EMF is nothing but electromotive force. In the magnetic circuit it is a magnetomotive force. So how you can find out the EMF V? You can find out the EMF by I into R. Same way in the magnetic circuit, what is the similar component like I? It is a flux. And what is the similar component like resistance? It is the reluctance. So first thing is that you need to find out the reluctance of the circuit. So from the given data, first you should be able to find out what is the length of the ring and what is the length of the cast iron. So after finding this, you can find out the reluctance of different portion. So first portion I will find out the reluctance for the cast steel material. I will denote it as by S1. And you know the formula to find out the reluctance. S is equal to L divided by mu 0 mu R into A. What is mu 0? It is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. And what is mu R1? You are given the mu R1 value. It is 800 for the cast steel material. And you are also given the area. Area is 10 centimeter square. So I will convert it into the meter square. And then I will find out the reluctance for the cast steel portion. Now I will also find out the reluctance same way with the cast iron portion, and I will denote it by S2. So remember this formula to find out the reluctance of a circuit. Now after finding the reluctance of the cast iron and cast steel, you need to also find out the reluctance of the air gap. So the same formula you can apply and you can find out the reluctance of air gap. After finding the reluctance air gap, you can do the addition of three reluctance S1, S2 and S3. So now you are having the value of total reluctance of the circuit. But in the exam you are asked to find out the MMF. So what is the equation to find out MMF? It is the phi into the reluctance. What is the phi? Value of phi is the flux. The flux value is 8 into 10 raised to minus 4. It is already given in the data. So you just have to put the value of phi and put the value of S over here. So your answer will be 1655.44 ampere turn. Remember, the unit of MMF is AT. It is ampere turn, right? So we will complete the example over here. Now let us see the next question. Next question is again asked from the magnetic circuit, and it is having the 6 marks weightage. The question states that state and explain the self inductance L and derive the expression of coefficient of mutual coupling between the two coils having the self inductance of L1 and L2. So before understanding or explaining about the self inductance, what you should be able to know what is a inductor and what is the inductance of a inductor. If you are clear about the inductance of a inductor, you can define the self inductance and you can also define the mutual inductance. After defining the self inductance, you can be able to find out what is the coefficient of mutual coupling between the two coils. Here you are having the two coils which is having the self inductance is equal to L1 and L2. So in that way you have to derive the formula to find out the coefficient of the mutual coupling, or it is sometimes also called as a coupling coefficient of a inductor. So let us understand first what is inductor. Inductor is nothing but it is a coils designed to produce the large self-induced EMF are called the inductor, or it is sometimes also called the choke. In DC circuit, they are used to slow down the growth of the current. The circuit symbol of inductor is like this. So this property whereby an EMF is induced as a result of change in the magnetic flux is known as the inductance of a inductor. So a changing current in a wire will cause a changing magnetic field in it. This magnetic field will induce a EMF in the conductor in that field. So when the current in a coil is changing with the help of EMF in the battery, the voltage that is to be produced with the help of inductor, it is called the self inductance of a inductor. So it is nothing but you can find out by the equation V is equal to L into di by dt. What is di by dt? It is rate of change of current with respect to time, and the L is the inductance of the coil and is having the unit as the Henry. Now let us see what is the coupling coefficient or the coefficient of the coupling. In the data you are told that you are having the L1 and L2, right? So you can define the L1 and L2 first and then can write down the mutual inductance equation by assuming that the friction K1 of the flux is to be linked with the another coil. So similarly you can write down the equation 2, that is the flux phi 2 will produce in the coil B due to the current that is produced in the second coil. So you are having the two different equation. So these two different equation you can multiply and can get M square. What is M? M is the mutual inductance of the inductor. So M square you will get K1 into K2 divided by N1 square divided by L upon mu 0 mu r A. What is this? L upon mu 0 mu r A? It is the reluctance. Reluctance for the coil 1, and this is the reluctance for the coil 2. What is N1 and N2? N1 and N2 are the number of turns in the coil 1 and coil 2. So now I am putting on behalf of K1 K2, I am just putting only K. So I will get M is equal to K under root L1 L2. So in this equation I can take K as a main. So K is equal to M divided by under root L1 into L2. So I can say that this K is nothing but it is a coupling coefficient of a two inductor coils. So I can also define in word that the constant K is a coefficient of coupling, and it may be defined as the ratio of mutual inductance actually present between the two coils to the maximum possible value. So if the flux due to one coil will completely links with the other, then the value of K will be unity. So we can say that the coil are tightly coupled to each other. If the flux of one coil does not link with the other coil, the value of K will be 0. So we can say that these two coils are magnetically isolated, or they are put far away from each other. Now let us quickly see the next question, that is the magnetic hysteresis. You might have seen this theorem in your 12th standard also. So we will quickly see this magnetic theorems, magnetic hysteresis. The phenomenon of lagging of flux density B behind the magnetic force H in a magnetic material is subjected to a cycle is known as the magnetic hysteresis. You can do one simple experiment in which you can connect one coil with a battery and can perform this magnetic hysteresis curve. So magnetic hysteresis curve will be look like this, where you are connecting a coil with a resistor and a switch. So what will be happen? How this magnetic hysteresis loop will be formed out? See, initially when you put this switch in on condition, what will be happen? The current will be flow through a inductor, or you can say that this H is getting increased. So you will get the point A. Now if you are decreasing the value of resistance, the circuit should be come to 0 position, but it will not come in the 0 position. So you can say that the B is the magnetic field strength, that is lag behind the magnetic field strength. So we will quickly go through the diagrams. Here the different diagrams with the saturation point is to be given. You can refer any book to study this magnetic hysteresis. It is very much important in the electrical engineering to define the magnetic hysteresis. So for the different material, the magnetic hysteresis will be different. For example, material A, the magnetic hysteresis loop will be different. Material B, the magnetic hysteresis will be different. Material C will be different. So the shape and the size of loop will mostly depend on the nature of the magnetic material. So for the choice of a magnetic material for a particular device, you often need to see the shape and size of the hysteresis loop. For example, observe the hysteresis loop for the hard steel material. It is quite wide, hence it possesses the high retentivity and corrective power. Therefore this type of material is suitable for making the permanent magnets. While observe the hysteresis loop for the wrought iron, and cast steel. You can see that this material is having a fairly good residual magnetism. So they can be suitable for the magnetic core or the electromagnet. Same way you can see that the hysteresis loop is very much thick in the case of silicon steel or silicon alloys. So you can say that this can be used to create the transformer core or the armature core, because this armature core and the transformer core are widely subject to the reversal of the magnetic system. Okay, so till now we have completed at least 9 questions from the question paper of May 2011. In the next class, that is after 1 hour, at 2 to 3, we will see the remaining questions from the question paper May June 2011. If you have any doubt in this today's theorem, see, it is a paper solution session, so I have to quickly solve you the paper. Otherwise, these topics are widely required time to explain. But I suggest to the students that you please prepare the solution by yourself first, and if you are having any doubt, you can contact me on my email ID. My email ID is ee.pares@adit.ac.in. I will be happy to give you answer of your questions, and we will see the remaining questions of May June 2011 paper in the next class. Thank you very much for attending this session.